Hey everyone, so today we're going to be looking at the new Mordekaiser rework. I wasn't actually going to do a video about it because it kind of got like teased yesterday. They released his abilities and stuff, but we didn't know what they looked like. But then actually his abilities were leaked last night. So we have like a full gameplay video spotlight of the abilities and what they look like in game. First thing we'll do is we'll go over the abilities, and then after that we'll go into like the good, the bad side of things as well. Like, because I think there are some really good parts about Mod, but there are actually some really big issues that probably gonna like make it a little bit difficult to play him. So ability wise, everything is going to be different. This is a full visual and a gameplay update at the same time. So his passive is going to be basic attacks deal bonus damage, and after 3 spells or attacks against a champion, it deals damage to nearby enemies kind of in a circle and gives move speed until he's out of combat. There are 2 parts to this, so we'll have to see like how it scales and everything, but once you get that second part active with the circle around you, it literally will not go away until you exit combat, so you only have to trigger it once. His Q is going to be his main damage source, so this is going to be slamming down his mace, dealing damage in an area, kind of like allow his Q actually, like in the same kind of way. It deals bonus damage though to a single target if it hits that, or less damage if it's hitting more than one. His W is going to be his shielding now as well, so he absorbs 25% of the damage taken and also his damage dealt, so he can stack it by doing damage or by taking damage either way. That is the passive part of it, but when he activates it, he generates a shield with that value. So if you absorb like 1,000 damage, you will have 1,000 damage shield, right? And then Mordekaiser can cast it again to consume 50% of the shield for health instead as a heal. His E is going to be 2 parts. So the first part is a passive on it. He gains percentage magic pen. It has 25% listed on here. And then the active is going to be a claw dragging people towards him, dealing damage. That claw is a AoE, by the way. Swain's one, for example, only hits 1 person. This will hit everybody in it. Finally, then we have his big ultimate, right? Which is kind of the focus of this entire thing. And this is going to be where he banishes a single enemy champion to the death realm for a 7-second 1v1. There is an area around him where you can run around and you can fight each other, kind of like a Camille where you can't leave it or anything. But he also steals a percentage of their core stats as well. So probably like their AD, AP, and even some armor, health, and magic resist. If he kills that target while in the 1v1 within those 7 seconds, then he consumes their soul and keeps their partial stats until they respawn whenever that's going to be. So those are going to be his abilities. We'll probably see him actually releasing in a couple of days when the new PvE patch drops. It's probably going to be a bit late though because of the bank holiday on Monday. So we're probably looking at like Thursday we'll actually be able to play him. If you notice as well though, he actually only has 2 damage spells in his entire kit really. I mean, his E kind of does a little bit, but it's mostly around his passive auto attacks, his circle passive as well, and then the Q damage. Apart from that, we have like utility on his W with the shield and the heal, right? Utility on his E with the claw, and then I guess his ultimate kind of does damage in a way. No direct damage, but it lets you do more because it steals some of their stats. This isn't too weird though, because he is a juggernaut. He's supposed to be kind of like a tank and damage focused melee champion. What do you think about that? They normally have some utility, they normally have a couple of damage spells, and then they are designed to be in melee range and to brawl and kind of like duel their way through a fight. Let's move on to some good stuff and some bad stuff, right? So I think the first good thing is that he is pretty much like a juggernaut now, right? He's going to be an AP version of Darius pretty much, where he runs in, heals a bit as well, and does a lot of damage. It's basically like the old Mordekaiser. He has some essence of that, right? And then having like a Swain, I guess, and Alawi have a weird baby and Mordekaiser pops out. I think lane phase should be like really good. He's got the healing and the shielding to start with, right? And that's going to be really good when you're trying to brawl and when you're trying to duel anybody. You've also got your claw, which is going to be the way to drag somebody into you, kind of like Darius's E, and it's also going to be really good gank assist as well. Like if your jungler comes top lane, you can claw somebody back towards you. His auto is dealing more damage, should, I guess in theory, help you CS a little bit and push a bit harder, but also if that works on towers, that's going to be amazing for split push, and it probably will do. That'll also give him good trades, especially if he's tanky. The idea is that you don't just survive, you actually have some damage, right? So if you're beating against a tank, like you're actually going to do quite a lot, I think. Another thing that's pretty good is decent wave clear. So you have your Q, which can go down an entire minion wave. You also have your passive at the same time with the swirls around it. So you can actually push and get somebody under tower. Even though he is immobile and he has no kind of gap closer, which we'll get onto in a second, I think like it's going to be kind of hard to gank him more, because if the jungler turns up, like surely he can just ult the jungler and then make it a 1v1, and the laner can't even like join in. How many times has the jungler ganked your lane, right? And you can't join and they end up dying 1v1. Like it actually happens quite a lot, and I think this might make that that even worse. As we said as well, the cool thing is that if you hit that claw, it's like the easiest thing ever because you just need your Q and auto attack afterwards for your passive, right? You get move speed, you get damage, and you can chase somebody down. That move speed lasts until out of combat as well. Like that's the big part. Like it lets you chase somebody down. You literally proc it once and the entire rest of the fight, it will be ticking away. Pretty much just because of that and the healing and the shielding on his W, you can make the Conqueror work really well on Mordekaiser. Like the healing, the true damage, he will survive for ages. Apparently with his E, the percentage magic pen, that might actually scale, but I'm not sure because it literally says 25% on the webpage. Now 25% magic pen is insane. Like Void Staff is 40%, and I can't actually stress this enough. Like this is so crazy, it's going to give him so much damage. The way penetration works is that it is a percentage magic pen and then it is the flat afterwards. Sword Boots and Oblivion Orb from Morello, Nomicon, that is 33 flat pen, right? And this percentage is going to apply before that and then that will. Just assume it is 25% and somebody you hit has 40 magic resist, right? They are down to 30 already and then 33 flat pen, so you're doing true damage. This is why Sorks and Oblivion Orb are so good anyway, and now you're actually adding in percentage naturally from his kit, and this is why I think he will be able to shred people. Even if it does start off a bit lower, right, and it scales up through the game. Say it starts at 10%, right? Vayne has 34 magic resist, level 11. That is going to be down to 31-ish with Mordekaiser's E with that passive, and then down to 0 with Pen Boost and Oblivion Orb. It basically forces you to build magic resist, or everything that Mordekaiser does with his Q and with his passive will deal true damage to you. Because it is percentage, it doesn't actually work that well to just stack MR though, unfortunately. Like if Vayne built a QSS, right, which we'll get onto in a second because that can be a way to beat Mord. After the percentage that you're going to lose, she only reduces damage by 13% instead of almost 40% before Pen. That 30% difference is going to make a world of difference when you're fighting Mord, and he will absolutely shred you if you get hit by that claw. Otherwise, you can probably kite him around. The other really good thing is the banishing to Shadow Realm for the 1v1, right? Which the obvious choice seems to be the AD carry, but actually can he win that? Because AD carries are really good at kiting juggernauts. Even if it does have some range as well, you're still going to be at range from an AD carry and they're still going to batter you and kite you around. So maybe it works, but again, he's going to have the healing and shielding. So it's probably going to be really hard to 1v1 him. I actually got to the end of the video, and as I was talking about it a bit more, I realized that the wording on this, like with his ultimate, is really important. Like it actually steals the stats for the 1v1. Now I always thought, like, how are you going to be able to kill an AD carry? Because he is designed to shred someone like a juggernaut. He's going to have really high stats anyway because he has a lot of items, and actually stealing it makes him weaker and you stronger. This is going to be really important because the percentage is going to make a huge difference. If it is a very low percent, you only steal like 10% or something, maybe it's not going to be that big. But if you steal like 25% of their stats, that is a massive amount against an AD carry, and it makes them massively weaker. So let's move on to some issues, because I don't think Mordekaiser actually has this like broken insane kit that everybody is talking about. So the first thing is there is no dash, there is no gap closer anywhere on his kit. This is very typical for juggernauts like a Darius, for example, but a lot of champions do have a dash now, and mobility is kind of king in this game. If you think about Aurelia or Jax or something, they're going to dive around and you can't really do anything about that. Like you can try and claw them, but if they dodge that, then you're not really getting close unless they want to fight you. Kind of in the same vein of that as well, he seems really bad at trying to escape stuff. Like you have to fight for your move speed and proc it in the first place, right? You only have your claw to drag somebody in. The other way as well, though, is what we talked about, where you could just like duel the jungler instead and try and win that 1v1 and maybe turn it around that way. So there is potential, but he really can't run away. His whole kit is designed to go in. You can also apparently QSS, Quicksilver Sash, his ultimate and cleanse it. Now, I think this is during his cast time apparently, which is the half second where he points his mace. If that's true, he's going to have the same issues as a Skarner and like a Malzahar, for example. Like you pay attacks 1300 gold and you'd be done with it. Like he's never going to be able to duel you. You have to be quick though. That is the one thing about this. If you can't QSS while in the Shadow Realm, so afterwards in the 7 seconds, which is probably about right. Like if you have this 0.5 seconds to QSS, a lot of people are not going to be quick enough. If you're expecting it, sure, right? But in the middle of a team fight, you're probably not going to see it coming. Now, I mentioned this already a little bit, but one of the biggest issues, honestly, is that if you miss your claw, you have absolutely no way to get close to somebody at all. You're probably going to have to build Rylai's because you need the slow. Otherwise, like everyone's just going to cut you around and run away. You actually only have like one damage spell as well, and you have nothing from range. If you think about it, he has nothing to get somebody like from range. Like before, he could have slowed with his E a little bit, right? But now if you miss the claw, like your W is purely just healing, right? You can Shadow Realm from a bit, but like your Q is kind of range, but like won't really do that much. You have to auto attack. This is where your passive comes in. Like the auto attacks do more damage, but that must do a lot of his damage because otherwise he's going to do absolutely nothing. Like he only has his Q apart from that. So if we assume that is kind of all true and his passive is going to be a lot of his damage, which I think it will be, then you have to build really tanky to survive to be able to auto attack. If you can't auto attack for a long period of time, you're probably not going to be able to do anything unless his passive just does a crap ton of damage, which would be pretty stupid. His W is designed to do that. You have the shielding and like the healing as well, so it will let him survive, but you have to be in a fight auto attacking consistently. If you think about it, like AP bruisers don't really work right now because there just aren't really items designed for it. You can build things like an abyssal mask, I guess, like kind of what a Mumu does right now, but even then you don't really have AP and tank items apart from like Rylai's really. The last thing is there is at least a window where you can punish him, right? Like just looking at him as well, you can work out pretty easily like when you're going to be able to fight. If he has his passive swirling around, you probably don't want to fight him. If he has his ultimate as well, obviously you just want to kite him around and just not die to him. But apart from that, like a lot of his survivability comes from his W for the heal and the shield as well. It takes time to charge up. That's the biggest thing. You need to deal damage and you need to take damage before you can really use it. And it also probably is going to have a decent cooldown based on other shield skills that we have in the game. So you have this window at the very start where he's stacking the shield up. Then you can use it. You can kite away, run away from him, wait till it disappears. And then that is the time to fight him and punish him because he can't do it again. I actually don't think he's going to be that broken when he releases because he doesn't have a gap closer. And if you dodge the claw, you're going to be fine. But unless his like healing and his shielding is crazy, his base damage is really high on his passive. Or probably the biggest thing that we don't know about yet is that the percentage from his ultimate, like if that actually steals a ton of your stats, then you're going to be weaker and he's going to be stronger. I'm just rambling anyway. I didn't really script this as much as I normally would. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be streaming right now probably. So if you want to come watch, there's a link down below. Thank you for watching until the very end. And for now, I will leave you with robots.